Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Vibing with Sleezy, the podcast. This is season 3, episode 11. And yes, this is part 2. Yes, I'm talking part fucking 2 with Sean fucking P, aka Sean Patrick O'Brien, aka Referee Man Bun, aka your favorite pro wrestling referee. And if you haven't listened to part 1, go back to season 3, part 1. It's the last episode. It's episode 10. Check it out, download it, show it some love. And then if you want to go all the way back to season 1, episode 1, listen to the fire episode that I did with Sean P. He was my first guest ever. Now we're at season 3. You're seeing where this fucking shit's going. Vibing with Sleezy, the podcast. Thank you to everybody that's been listening and tuning in, downloading. I want to thank everybody that's been showing love. Everybody that's been showing love to episode 1 here with Sean. And, we had to do a two-parter because not only were we going to hit the wrestling, hit the local thing, but talk about the music game with Sean and just everything that me and Sean, have vibed over time about. And so Sean always brings a lot of content to the game. He's a master podcaster. And if you haven't seen him in action during pro wrestling or in the music game, he's just somebody to stay connected with locally because he's like me, knows a lot of people, and just a good dude. So Sean P., welcome fucking back. Part 2, baby. How you doing?
That's right, baby. We getting it, man. Part 2. So action-packed that we couldn't put it in one.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm liking doing the part 1, part 2 for season 3 of my show because it's giving people like shit to tune in for and like the kind of that hanging on. And like shout out to Paige and Gemini. They've given me the motivation of like, they're getting bucks off Patreon, kind of getting people to tune into like extra content. And what I'm noticing is people are downloading more to like see what's going on the bonus stuff. So, because season 4, my goal is to really start making money off this and really start booming off this. And I think, having part 1, part 2 just really gives people something to tune in for. And also when it's someone, like you, that has, versatile talent, pro wrestling and also doing music, it's like, it gives us, time to not pack it all into one and gives people able to listen. So, music wise, for people that were listening to part 1, we were talking about Jack Harlow and Bryson Tiller and what Sean P's done and, how we like the local music game. But where what are you doing now here locally? You've mentioned that you're doing a lot of like, I guess, open mics and music, doing music here for the local scene. Sean?
Since around, can you hear me? Yeah,
You there?
I'm here. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hey, can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello? Okay. All right. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we got you, man. Yeah, sorry, a little technical difficulties, but we're back. What's up, dude?
So yeah. Well, really back in like 2017, whenever I started like really running hard doing the wrestling stuff, there was a few different things that had happened, and there was also a promotion I started working for that ran every Thursday. And so just with everything starting to pick up for me as far as the wrestling goes, it made it hard for me to really do, music like I wanted to, because at heart, I'm a performer and I love being on stage, singing, all that stuff like that. I write songs. I don't think I'm the greatest songwriter, but I feel like I'm a performer. And so I want to be on stage all the time. That's why when I was doing music, it was like every weekend, starting from Thursday to Sunday, I was all over the place. So fast forward to 2021, I guess it was, I stopped working for the promotion that I was working for on a weekly basis. That was every Thursday. And the first phone call that I made, one of the first text that I made, I guess you could say, was to Sasha Renee, who runs the Vibe Open Mic here in Louisville, which I would say is probably one of the top open mics like in the city for sure. Speaking of Bryson Tiller, he popped up at a Vibe about a year or two ago, whenever he was like really hot, and just it was a crazy moment just because the Vibe was a packed night anyway, and here comes Bryson Tiller, and we're just like, holy shit, this superstar is here. This is kind of cool. But anyway, I had hit up Sasha, and I was like, hey, I don't know if I really want to like come back to music like 100%, but I miss being on stage. I miss the music scene. I miss everything about it, and just being around and, you know, discovering people that I've never heard of that I'm like, yo, this guy's really dope. And so she had allowed me to become one of the hosts that was in rotation, I guess you could say. And I started hosting officially. It was supposed to be the third Thursday of every month, but it ended up being I would host at least 2 or 3 a month. And so that was kind of my, I guess I had my toe back in the door, you could say, when it comes to music. And I was able to, you know, perform and do the songs that I hadn't performed in years, whether it be like my track Panties that you can see on my social media. It's my freaky song. And, you know, like, you know, my smoking song that I've got, or like, you know, different things. And I was able to perform these things that I wrote 2015, 16. And, you know, people had never heard some of these songs, and they were just like, holy crap, that Panty song is a hit. Then what was cool about it was like, you know, my homies like Saint, you know, a really reputable engineer for anybody that's in the music game listening who needs to know where to go to make a song. Saint makes superstars. That's who Harlow used to record with. That's who Tiller used to record with. But Saint, he had popped up at a Vibe, and when he walked in the door, I was singing Panties, and he goes, "Man, it took me back to 2016, bro." So
you know,
stuff like that.
Up,
and so I was able to be around it and still keep myself busy because I was still booked every weekend, and that's why I really wasn't like fully dedicated back to the music game. But I kind of like my role being one of the hosts of the open mics, you know, when I can. And so, but unfortunately right now the Vibe is on hiatus. Hopefully it'll make a comeback soon. We were running at Nirvana. Anybody that's familiar with Louisville knows where Nirvana is. And we were running at Nirvana, and they've been closed down for, I guess, a couple of months now, it feels like. So
they're closed down permanently?
It seems like it, but I don't know if they're gonna. I keep hearing rumors about, you know, oh, they're gonna be back soon and all kind of stuff, but I don't really know what's going on. But
I did business with them at one time when I worked at Leo, and they're, you know, you never want to see any business or company go under, but you know, it's kind of a shit location. I mean, it's a great location in a way, you know, to be honest, but I'm saying it's kind of a shit location, just that spot's luck wise. Like it just seems like bad luck has always hit that spot because it's just, I don't know, but I hope everything works out. And then I hope to see your thing come back because that's great for the local music scene, and more shit for people to be able to express themselves is very important because a lot of people don't have an outlet. Like right now, I'm fucking blessed to have a podcast and like people that actually listen, but a lot of people don't have any outlet to express themselves, and local shit like that is so fucking important.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely important, man. Like, I mean, even just this go around, back when I started coming back around, the amount of people that would talk about, oh, this is my first time ever performing. Like I've been writing songs in my room for, you know, years. I felt like I was a rapper since I was, you know, 10 years old, and they've been writing these songs and whatever, but their first time performing was at the Vibe Open Mic. And it's just like, you know, that means a lot, you know, like you said, it's an outlet. And especially if that's like something that you want to make happen, and a goal or a dream is to be a music artist like that, to be able to have, you know, an opportunity just to step on stage, or like people who are trying to who want to train to wrestle, just that opportunity to even step a foot in the ring, so yeah.
Well, what's also crazy too is like it's I don't ever want to bring up like negative light, but it's just also too, it's like, dude, we both know what Louisville has become like violence wise and gun violence, and like a lot of people dying in drugs too. And it just I I I'm not like trying to bring up any like negativity, but it's just it's sad to see all the stuff happening. And I feel like events like this and ways that people to get to express themselves also is a way for people to get away from these situations. Like I know Louisville, really in a way, everybody's trying to do their best, but it just a lot of bad stuff still happening. And
Yeah,
and shit like this is really important.
absolutely. Yeah, 1000%, man. Yeah, it gives people hope.
Oh, it does. And when people lose hope, it it's a scary thing, and that's why I think it's not only important for Louisville and the community, but it's important for the West, man. Like, the West just gets no love. And like something I'll bring up, because I know, you and I know a lot of people in the West End that'll probably tune into this, is that, for example, they don't have any groceries down the West. And it's like Louisville, people just run and they're not putting the business into it. And there's a lot of good things still down there, but people need things, people need resources. And it's not just, yeah, they need groceries, they need those restaurants, they need the stores, but they also need things to do and need places to go. And even if it is going to the Highlands to be able to do it, it's still something to be able to leave, maybe an area where you're not feeling the hope. And I want I want everybody in this city to feel hope no matter what neighborhood you're in, because who I don't give a fuck who you are. I would never want to know that someone that's a human being that shits, breathes, pees, fucking puts her pants on
Right.
just like I do, living with no hope.
Yeah,
That's a fucked up thing to just think that some human is living with that every day.
absolutely. Yeah, I 100% agree with that, man. Yeah, and like not just for the people who have the dreams, but the people that are around them. You know, um, Going to see their nephew or brother or daughter or son perform, gives them that outlet also as well to escape all the issues that they're dealing with and stuff. So that's why it's definitely crucial to have those extracurricular activities around for
Well,
everybody.
yeah, and and how many people, I know that your family was very supportive of you, and like my
Yeah.
family was supportive of me, and we've had supportive friends in our life and shit like that. But the thing that's really, that's important for people too, that you mentioned, like people being able to go see their loved one go perform, is that, you know, a lot of people see talent young and early, and they're like, they'll tell everybody like, hey, my nephew's really talented. Well, of course you're saying that that's your fucking nephew, but sometimes people are right, and sometimes people are like, hey, you need to be fucking performing. And then when you know they're able to see somebody on stage, even if it's not the fucking Grammys or something, even if it's on, even if it's on fucking Blue Lick, it's like it gives that person the thought in their head, like, oh, look at, they're finally made it, they finally are on stage, people are out here vibing to it. And yeah, like you said, it's all about building people's dreams and hope. And and sometimes too, I just wish people would go back to remembering where they started, that have made it, and to kind of help bring more people with them.
Yeah. No, yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and you were talking earlier about how Jack Harlow is really good about that, about not forgetting where he came from. And I really, every single time that I hear any way or shape or form that he shouts out Louisville, or or even like will make uh, a rhyme or a punchline that only people in Louisville would understand, like stuff like that. I'm just like, yeah, man, that's cool. That's good stuff.
Because
Uh,
he doesn't want to be. I can tell he doesn't want to be forgotten. And like when all that bullshit happened with the Derby shit a couple years ago, and then he comes back this past Derby and like, fucking all over TV, Drake, all this stuff. He says, I can tell he's like me in the mindset of like he wants a legacy, he wants to leave a mark, and he wants to he wants Louisville not to forget him. And I don't think he ever wants them to view him in a negative light. So he's going to
right,
try to help in some ways. But he also realizes too that it's like, I know he comes back all the time and visits, got family here, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, I think too, he also realizes that he had to get away, for a little while.
right.
And he really did to kind
One,
of
yeah,
boom.
percent. Now, I was gonna say that was actually one of the things that I was gonna mention too, is how he had to get out. You know what I mean? To be able to get the success he has, and I feel like he knows that and he realizes that. You know what I mean? Uh, but and that's why it's kind of commendable even more, so that he shows as much love as he does to the city.
Oh, exactly. Because he could forget about it. And you see other rappers like, you see rappers like 2K Baby who, like, for example, and no hate to him or nothing, but it's like he's talked about Louisville in interviews and shit, but he ain't fucking coming back. He ain't as relevant. And it's not even about relevant. It's just about doing stuff for your community and giving back. And it's just good to see that the artist doing that in Louisville. And then it's good to see in general an artist just doing that for any hometown out
Yeah,
there. And I mean, I I really love to see, you know, I don't know, I love to see how much hip hop and R&B is growing. And like when I went to Giveon, which I mentioned in part one, me and my girlfriend went down there to Nashville, and um, I just the openers for Giveon was just so good. And I was telling my girlfriend, it's like there's so much talent out there, and there's so many people that still haven't been heard, or that need to be, not that they want to or they should be heard. It's like they need to be heard. And there's just, I don't know, I'm excited just hopefully I keep living a long life. Like I'm excited
yeah,
just to keep hearing the music over the years and to
right.
see where it grows, because man, there's so much talent out there.
Yeah, well, and that was one of the reasons why I had asked Sasha if I could start coming back around and doing things, and just kind of not necessarily like jumping in the deep end, so to speak, when it comes to music, but just be around, because I love discovering new artists. Back when I was doing music and I was like, on the scene and really going hard, that time period, I could definitely say that I only listened to Louisville artists. You know what I mean? Like I very rarely would listen to anything if it wasn't like, uh, at the time, Big and Tall was around. There's T Razor and Bones, as I mentioned earlier. Uh, there was Don B, that is a really, really incredible artist. Tez the Too Deep, Rob Lee, like all these guys I was listening to. Rob Lee's album, when it came out, it's called Art of Flight, and it's over 5 years old now. But back when it came out, I no problem listened to it from front to back, more than 10 times. You know what I mean? Just because it was that good of an album.
Yeah.
Uh, so, and like you said, these are people that, uh, for better or for worse, like, well, I would definitely say for worse, a lot of people are never going to hear these guys. I would hope maybe one day Rob Lee becomes a superstar, or Tez, or Dom, or one of those guys. But like right now, they're just Louisville dudes. Tez is, Tez was. He may still be. He was just a daycare director, and a youth football coach, but one of my favorite rappers. You know what I mean? Like, and it's crazy, bro. But yeah, like you were saying, man, there's so much talent out there, and so much that people need to hear. That was a big driving force of me going back and wanting to be around the music scene.
And I think that's important, man. And like I said, I think you being able to do what you did years back, and also you might be able to even to help a young artist, or just and just give that artist that hope or that support of like, hey, it's still out there. And
Yeah.
I don't want to bring. I haven't ever really been able to do this, but this be kind of fucking dope. Not to kind of get sidetracked off music, but since we are also wrestling guys, breaking news from AEW. I want to read some breaking news. This is breaking news from Vibing with Sleezy, the podcast. First time ever I've got to
I
do.
feel like we need like one of those breaking news type
Yeah.
tunes.
Here.
Like,
I'm gonna do one with my mouth. Yeah. I like that. Here we go. Breaking news here, Vibing with Sleazy the podcast. Official breaking news. So Warjo defeated Nick Camarado and QT Marshall night in AEW, and so you might thinking, oh, that's not a big deal. But post match, Warlow goes for a powerbomb symphony on QT, but the embassy interrupts. Brian Cage talks trash about Warjo and FTR. Well, FTR comes out to a massive ovation. A loud FTR chant breaks out. FTR proposes a match against the embassy for AEW Rampage, but they need a partner. And Dax Harwood asks Cash Wheeler about the start time of Rampage. Wheeler says 10. 10. Well, Sean Spears fucking returns, and he's now the partner of FTR. So the Pinnacle is now reunited without MJF. So that is the big main thing at the end of AEW. So will MJF return to the Pinnacle? I know MJF probably will be the next champ, but that's pretty good breaking wrestling news.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exciting.
I mean,
Definitely.
that's these fucking stables in wrestling are humongous. I mean, some of them are a little bit redundant. Some of them are overplayed. Like, I don't know. Like, I fucking love DX, but fuck, sometimes it's like we get it. It's DX, but it's like I'm liking seeing these new stables. Like, it's cool to see the 5-on-5s.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and like ROH with the trios title and stuff like that.
Oh, that's dope. That's super dope.
Yeah, I love stuff like that. So yeah, I definitely and I love the possibilities for storylines and different things like that that are definitely out there. So yeah, I agree. I love stables, putting people together and stuff like that. There are some very interesting ones out there, like you said, but
there is. There is some interesting ones. I will say that, or definitely ones that are a little bit I don't know, just don't make sense. But the something else I want to mention, one of our mutual friends, Austin Rich, he got to actually perform in front of Keenan Thompson. So
yeah,
I haven't actually got to talk to him yet about it, but he I was very proud of him, very excited for him, and just I think it's a huge step in his career. And with us doing this podcast, I definitely wanted to shout out Austin at some point, and
yeah,
he's a big supporter of both of us, and I think it's just really cool to see that his comedy career is taking that step, and he won that open mic, he won that tournament, and his confidence has definitely I feel like grown with that as well. And then
yeah.
he left me a fucking hilarious message on my birthday. Well, not a message, but I was on the phone with him, but I just felt like it was a message because I had him on my Bluetooth, and oh my gosh, I was in a drive-through, and he's like, "Happy birthday, Mr. President." And I was like, "Oh my gosh." And he was like singing to me and shit, dude. It was hilarious. I was like, "Oh, fucking Austin."
Only Austin. Yeah, what you said. Yeah, man, I'm super, super proud that not just that he is making strides and doing uh, these big opportunities, like you said, performing in front of Keenan, the tournament that he had won recently, or the contest or whatever it was that he had won. Um, but just the fact that he is back in comedy in general and is doing his thing is what I love to see even more, because uh, you could say biased, maybe non-biased, whatever. Austin is my favorite comedian, and the fact that he was, I mean, not to put all of his business out there, but kind of down on himself and
Yeah.
not really, not really doing anything, and was almost acting like he was going to quit doing comedy just in general. Almost like upset me to the point where it made me mad. Like I was like, dude, you are entirely too good at this to even think about not doing it. You know what I mean?
He's also too young to be done.
Right, oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's so much that um there's so much possibility, and like you said, he's super young, so he's got plenty of years to make it happen. And so yeah, I was just really glad that he was able to make it work and do some things and find a scene up where he's at, because when he lived here in Louisville, Austin was pretty ingrained in the scene, to the point where even if he was feeling down on himself, he still had people that was jumping in his inbox like, "Hey bro, I want to book you for this show." And even if he wasn't completely feeling it, he was like, "All right, I guess I'll do it." You know what I mean? Whereas
Yeah.
being up where he's at now, it was just like, I don't feel like doing it, so I'm not going to do it, because he didn't know anybody up there. Um, Luckily, he started getting some bookings, and I think he had one here in Louisville, that he had one in like the Indianapolis area, and that was a really kind of like started his confidence building again. You know what I mean? And then got, like you said, they're like we were talking about, the opportunities up in the Chicago area, performing at the Laugh Factory in Chicago, like really big things, and then the contest that he won and stuff like that. So yeah, man, I'm just glad that he's back in the game in general, really more than anything, and I'm
Yeah,
proud of him.
he could have been just like absolutely done, and then he just comes
Wait,
back with this heat, and it's just like
yeah,
that's what I like to see. And I don't know, he shares a lot of jokes with me, and he laughs, and he's always building me up, so I like to build him up. And you know the thing about it too is it's like it's all about, I don't know, I like to always have little life lessons on my podcast. Albert Pujols just ended his career for the St. Louis Cardinals, Hall of Famer, one of the best baseball players of all time. And he wanted to actually quit in June. He contemplated retiring early, saying he didn't have it. And to end the way he did, to get over 700 and to have the hot finish and just have that big run, it just proves you just can't quit. I saw him back in May against the Pirates, and he struck out like 0 for 4. He played like shit, and it was cool just to see him and see Molina, but I was like, fuck, this guy's washed. And then to have such an end of a season, it just proves you just can't give up. Sometimes it's just it's a short or temporary just bullshit, situation.
yeah, yeah, man, yeah. You can't let mental health get you down. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
'cause a lot of times that's all it is. Just you got to, break that mental block, or whatever it might have to have
It'll
to be.
kill you. It could
Yeah.
fucking literally not kill you. Not, and even if it doesn't kill you physically, it could literally shatter your fucking dream just
Oh
by
yeah,
eating
yep.
it.
Austin could have never came back to comedy, and he wouldn't be, where he's at now. So because
I feel like mental health, yeah, it's like my
both
own
he was.
setback and everybody's setback, really. Just mental health is really what sets people back.
Yeah, man, 100%, definitely. Yep. But shout out to Austin, though. Big shout out. Much love
Yeah,
for that.
big shout out to Austin. So yeah, I want to talk to you real quick about some things. I maybe not even like maybe like favorites because we've talked about that before, but it's like you've done matches with some pretty hardcore stuff, which we talked about in that season 1 episode where you've done death matches and you've done all kinds of matches. But I had to ask because I watch YouTube, I watch these crazy matches, and I know we've talked about this before, but it's like, is there any moves that you've seen recently that number one, I guess to give you a loaded question, number one that just you've never seen before that maybe even in deathmatch, and then B, anything that just that really fucking hurts. Like you just watched it and you're like, fuck, that hurt.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. I mean, especially in the deathmatch realm, because stuff is getting innovated all the time, whether it be, you know, using a certain type of weapon and doing a certain type of move with it at the same time, you know what I mean? Or whether it be building a new kind of weapon, you know what I mean? Like, and I see there's times that stuff will get brought to different shows, because we might have a fans bring the weapon match advertised or something like that, and we'll look at it like, no, you can't use that. That's too unsafe, because there's no way that you could use that on somebody and still be safe while using it, if that makes sense. Like, no matter what you do, if you hit them with that, it's going to slice their arm open, or whatever. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's like that. I'd say one of the new weapons that's pretty popular in the deathmatch realm right now that it's I'm trying to think of the right way to say this. It's something that I hate it so much that I love it, if that makes sense. Okay. Because of the fact that the weapon is just that violent and brutal. But they're called gusset plates, and they are the if you ever look on like a wooden structure, like a shed, or like something like that, but where the metal plates that attach the wood, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
It's got a bunch of like jagged razor blades basically on them.
Oh fuck, I know exactly what you're talking
about. They take those and they will they might put them in their hand and chop somebody with them. Or one thing that's real popular is to put it on somebody's forehead and headbutt it into their forehead. Like, yeah, different things like that. And that's one of those things that instantly draws blood. As soon as it's punctured in, they just start dripping. And like I said, that's one of the reasons I hate it, but also one of the reasons I love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially when they come up with creative ways to do it. One of the crazier things that they do with those gusset plates is they'll take them and glue them either to like a 2x4 or like a wiffle bat or something like that, and they will swing them and hit somebody in the arm or chest with it, and the amount of blood, it looks like somebody got murdered a lot of times whenever that happens. Like, insane.
It's so wild to me, and it's just like, and you've told me before in the past, I mean, these guys just have the pain tolerance. Am I correct?
Not just the pain tolerance, but also too, they heal like Wolverine. It's insane. Like Logan, Wolverine from X-Men. Like, they literally will, it looks like they'll maim their body one weekend, and the next weekend it's business as usual. It's insane. It's crazy.
Now I know that you also hang out with them outside of the match, and like you go out to eat with them and shit like that. So like, are they talking about anything, or are you all talking about non-wrestling stuff? I mean, what is it like hanging out with the hardcore wrestlers like that do this stuff? Like, are they? I mean, be real. I mean, are they mentally fucked up, or are they actually like, oh, we talk about comic book? I don't know, or we talk about the matches all the time. And what is it like?
See, and you would think that with it being, I guess, more of a barbaric style of professional wrestling, that these guys would be a little crazier or a little whatever. But to be completely honest with you, like 100% honest with you, deathmatch wrestling is, I would say, probably in the deathmatch community, especially because it's grown a lot in the last few years. I mean, we had death matches on AEW with tubes and glass. The deathmatch community is so close. It's so much more close knit than, I would say, the rest of professional wrestling, if that makes sense. Um,
Wow, that's
like
huge. I
all the
didn't know
all
that.
the deathmatch guys are like, we're all super tight with each other. We all, talk to each other quite a bit, and we're all closer. I don't know if it's because we're all putting each other at more of a risk, at the things that we do, or if it's just whatever it is. But there's something about it that I feel like deathmatch wrestling is a lot more like close knit. The guys are the camaraderie is a lot tougher, I feel like, with deathmatch wrestling than it is with any other style of wrestling, at least in my experience, because um, that company, ICW No Holds Barred, they're mainly, for the most part, a deathmatch company, and no matter who we work for, what beef the companies might have, whatever. This guy's a GCW guy, this guy's an ICW guy, whatever. Like, we all still fuck with each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We all still are in a 10-person circle out back, smoking a blunt. Like, it's still, hey, I haven't seen you in forever, or I just saw you last week, or whatever. Like, it's super, super tight knit. It's kind of ironic a little bit sometimes.
that's what's up. I mean, that's what's up. And so another thing that I've noticed, and I've especially noticed it in the deathmatch wrestling scene, and I'm just curious of what your opinion is. What's up with all the? Is this just for fans demanding this, or is this just the hot new thing? It's like, what's up with all the intergender matches where, like, I mean, like men versus women, and like I'm seeing like one on one, like a female versus a male, and like a super fucking death match. Like, is that something now common? Because you weren't even seeing that. You're never seeing that in main event wrestling.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely become a lot more common. I would say, as just society as a whole becomes more, gender equality type. You know what I mean? And that really is what has a lot to do with it. I feel like, more than anything. Um,
Yeah, I was
there
just
are
curious. I was really
Yeah,
curious.
there are certain circumstances where I've looked in the ring and I've seen a guy against a girl, and I'm like, that girl could probably take that guy, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I feel like it's become so much more popularized, I guess you could say, especially on the indies where you can do whatever you want to do. But also Impact has done a intergender match for their big championship. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
When they had Sammy Callahan against Tessa Blanchard at one point. So I mean, like, there are some of the mainstream companies that embrace it. Not enough, I feel like, just because when done right, intergender wrestling can be very, very awesome. And the
Oh
actually
yeah,
the
I mean, there's a lot of talent out there for sure.
yeah, the world champion right now for ICW No Holds Barred is a woman. It's a girl named Casey Kirk, and she actually
That's
beat,
great.
on her trail to the championship. She went through, I think, 6 to 7 of like the best deathmatch wrestlers in the world, and she beat all of them, and all of them made sense. You know what I mean? She also throws, for her size. If you see Casey, she's a little smaller girl, but her forearms are deadly. Like, so
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it makes sense in all the victories that she's had.
Yeah, and that's
But
awesome that people, like, especially companies, want to back somebody and do that. And now to get back into the death match, another question, just out of curiosity, is there ever where one wrestler is about to take on another wrestler? I guess another loaded question. A, where one wrestler wants to use a weapon, but the other one's like, I'm not fucking having that weapon, or and then B, where the two wrestlers haven't talked and it's like, how fucking far is it gonna go kind of deal. Does that make sense? Like, is that, to kind of make a loaded.
yeah, no, 100%. No, I get it, it's somewhat of a loaded question, but going back to what I was talking about earlier with the camaraderie and stuff like that, when it comes to what we're doing in the ring, um, even outside of deathmatch wrestling, just in a regular wrestling match, you're giving your body to your opponent. You know what I mean? And so most of the time, people have respect enough to be like, nah, I'm not doing that. I have seen situations where somebody might pick up something, and the other person, the opponent, will see it, and instead of taking the weapon, they'll give them of course working, but a work kick to the gut or something like that to cut them off, to make them drop it, and they'll drop it and just kick it out of the ring or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've seen situations like that. I've never had any situations where anybody took advantage of somebody and necessarily hit them with something that they didn't want to be hit with. I have seen there. So there was recently a situation at a company. It was a deathmatch company somewhere down south. I can't remember where it was. And so there's debate, and I've heard 2 or 3 different sides. I've heard it was a work. I've heard it was a shoot. The video footage of it was a little chaotic. But a guy had took one of those fraternity paddle boards.
Yeah.
And someone had made a weapon where they took staples. This is the dumbest shit. I can't believe that somebody actually thought that this was a good idea.
Yeah.
But they took one of those paddle boards and glued fresh staples out of the pack. Whenever you load it into the staple gun and they're still stuck together.
Holy
had
fuck.
Glued about 2 or 3 different bars of staples like that. And one of the guys took it and hit the other guy on his back with it, and it spliced him wide open. It was gross. And then so I couldn't really tell if the referee was trying to stop the match or if he got freaked out or what exactly was going on. But the guy who hit the other guy with it, he was still throwing tubes and was trying to make it look like they were continuing the match. Fans and other workers and different stuff, they were trying to get in the ring to break it up, and it got chaotic really, really fast. But however, after the fact, I'd heard different things, and because I knew one of the guys that was in the circumstance or in the situation, and I'd heard different things about, oh well, nah, it was a work, but not certain people weren't, smartened up, I guess.
That's
Yada yada.
too far for a work, man. I'm sorry. No matter what the I'm all about going far with it, as much as you want to, and but it's for it to be that gross, it's that's a little crazy.
Yeah, man, it was wild. From what I was from the understood that from what I was told, the guy was cool with taking the weapon, and I guess he didn't really realize how much he had gotten split. But the other two, the 2 guys that was in the match, was just trying to get to the end of the match. But all the fans and other workers and stuff, they thought it was real. And so it was a crazy little thing that happened. So
Man, that is wild. Okay, so I'm gonna hit you with a few rapid questions. You just gotta tell me your thoughts, and here we go. So, who is a wrestler that you've never worked with but you want to work with?
Um, ooh, that's tough. Let's see. Oh man. Uh, let's see. Wow, that's a lot tougher than what I thought it was gonna be. Let's go with the Boogeyman.
Okay, I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, your favorite independent wrestler currently?
Mance Warner.
Your
I,
favorite? Okay.
no,
Well, why?
I was back then, and that's who it still is, man. I'm a big Manson fan.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. So, what about your favorite mainstream wrestler?
Favorite on the mainstream. I'd probably go with Eddie Kingston um, with AEW.
Okay. Favorite company to work for?
Favorite company to work for has to be ICW No Holds Barred, man, just because um, everything that they do, anytime we have a show, I hop on social media and, scroll the hashtag, and it's so many people that's tuned in watching. Like it feels like a big deal when I'm there. And so I would definitely probably say ICW is probably my favorite company I work for right now.
Okay. Would you ever want to be a producer or writer?
Uh, sure, definitely, man, absolutely. I don't know about so much as producer because in professional wrestling, the producers are kind of agents, and those are the guys who actually put the matches together. As far as like what you see on TV, but I would definitely love to go down that creative writing realm at some point, just because it's really fun um, to do it, just to put together story. Like I don't do much of creative writing, but I feel like I've been in the business long enough that a lot of people will ask me for input, and it's really cool to be able to give some input into stuff that's going to happen 2, 3, 4 shows down the line. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um, as far as like going back to agenting and producing and stuff, I do give input where it's needed, as far as like making things make sense, because I'm really big on psychology. But to put a whole entire match together, that's a lot for me.
Oh, I feel you. No, I feel you. I feel you. So, what's your favorite weapon to see used in a match?
My favorite weapon. So currently they've been using these bats, these
Yeah.
wiffle ball bats
Uh-huh.
that they will attach. Like the white poppers that when you throw them on the ground, they pop, like the C4 poppers or whatever.
Yeah.
They take those and they will, put them on a bat just like the thumbtacks, and hit somebody with it in the back of the stomach, and it makes an explosion, and it literally looks and sounds like you're hitting them with an exploding bat, and it's really, really cool. That's
That's
probably one of
fucking
my favorite
dope.
weapons right now.
That's fucking dope. Okay. Would you say what would you say is your favorite match of all time?
Oh man, that's tough. uh it's like asking what my favorite song is. um uh I would say right now it would probably be that match that I referee with Minoru Suzuki. uh Matter of fact, actually, I'll have to give you a top three off the top of my head right now. The match of Minoru Suzuki against Jake something, that took place at Glory Pro Wrestling in St. Louis. Um, are these? Wait, we are talking matches that I've refereed, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah. The second one, and this is in no particular order. I'm just kind of going in order of when they happened most recently. Second, I would probably say Leo Rush and ACH. And that happened at the Collective in Indianapolis in 2020. And then before that, I would probably say my favorite match for a long, long time was Mance Warner took on Matt Riddle at IWA Mid-South. And that was so much fun. Not just because of the match, which was incredible, because Mance is like it's my favorite wrestler for a reason. He hits hard and really hard, and just a big old country boy who likes to brawl. And you got UFC Matt Riddle. Before I had got into wrestling, I used to be a big MMA fan. I watched The Ultimate Fighter, you know what I mean? So to be able to work with Matt Riddle was really cool. And then not only that, but to be able to hang with him and smoke with him was really cool too. So, but yeah, that's probably my three favorite matches.
So you like Riddle? You did like Riddle, a cool guy?
He was, yeah. Riddle was a pretty cool guy for the most part. Yeah. I actually was, I got to work with him twice before he had got picked up and signed. And both times, you know, we got to kick it, talk, and, you know, just kind of BS or whatever. And so, yeah, solid dude.
That's dope. Okay, I got three more questions for you. Okay,
right.
So what do you like to do before a show? Like get ready. Like how do you prepare mentally?
To be honest, I'm really bad about procrastinating. So, you know, just making sure that all the, you know, everything's assigned as far as the match assignments and all that, you know, getting the business together is definitely one thing. But other than that, I'm just kind of BSing and just catching up, just saying hi to people, talking to people, you know, stuff like that. And I've gotten in the really, really bad habit of getting dressed at like the last possible moment. Like it'll be, you know, 30 minutes before bell time, and me and I'll go ahead and call him out because he's kind of been the bad influence of me acting like this. But one of my referee buddies, Aaron Grider, me and him will look at each other, and it could even be 20 minutes out from bell time. Like, and I'm like, "Are you gonna get dressed?" He's like, "Motherfucker, you ain't even dressed." I'm like, "Yeah, you right." Like,
so that's hilarious.
Really, it's just kind of BSing and you know, just catching up with everybody and stuff like that. You know, if I have the very first match, then obviously I'll try and figure out what's going on or anything like that. But really, it's just chilling and what we like to call brothering. So
I feel you. And then what is it like backstage? What are y'all doing during match? Are y'all watching them on TV? Or y'all just hanging out? Does nobody watch? I mean, what's going down?
Oh yeah. I mean, you're always gonna find a good handful of guys, if not two handful of guys, up at the curtain trying to watch wherever they can watch. Just because, you know, we are all fans of this, and not only that, but a lot of guys still, there are a lot of guys pack into cars and go together, and so some guys that are riding in cars with other guys will watch their match so that they can talk shit about it on the way home, you know, and stuff like that. Other guys are doing what I was saying, brothering, just catching up and talking about BS, you know what I mean? Other guys are calling their match, you know, 20 times to each other just to make sure they know what they're doing and everything that's going to happen. There's a lot going on backstage, to be honest.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, because I was curious about that. And then my last question, and it's another loaded one. So, if is there any guys that have real legitimate beef? And also, if they do, how do you navigate that as a referee in a match? Or has it ever happened where you've even been somewhere where maybe it's not a company you work regularly, you're just doing like a pay-per-view or special match or event, and they're like, hey, so and so hate each other, you know, watch that. Like, I mean, is that happen, or is that something ever? I'm just curious. You don't have to
Nah,
name no names. I'm just
right.
you know.
Nah, so to be completely honest, most guys keep it professional.
Yeah.
It's very very rare that two guys that hate each other will get booked against each other and it'll end up in a real fight out in the middle of the ring. Uh, I trying to think. I've never really had that situation personally that I could think of to where I've had like, man, these two guys don't like each other that much, so hopefully nothing goes out of hand. I've never really had that thought before I even went into a match.
Yeah.
However, I have heard of situations that have happened coming out of matches where a guy, yeah, no names. There was a dude recently who tried to claim that a guy was a little bit rough with him and different things like that because they had real life heat outside of the ring. And then he also tried to claim some false things, which I'm not even going to get into. But with that, and then there was a video of said situation because most everything is recorded these days as far as in wrestling, and when watching the situation, yes, dude was a little rough with the guy, but the guy was also no selling his stuff, trying to make his stuff look like shit. So you know what I mean? It was kind of it was kind of a two-sided street. You know what I mean? When it came to that situation. But like I said, it's very, very rare that happens. Most of the time, people are professional enough that, when they go out to the ring, they're going to handle business. If they have a problem, they'll handle it in the back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly. And, everybody knows about, you've heard all the stories, Undertaker's court in the back and
Right.
Everything happens backstage. So
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that's fascinating. Thanks for answering all those questions. But yeah, everybody, this was part 2 of the episode with Sean P. I want to thank everybody for listening and downloading Bible with Sleazy, the podcast worldwide. Reach out to Bible with Sleazy, reach out at Bible with Sleazy, gmail.com, Bible with Sleazy, the podcast, Facebook, Instagram. Reach out, show love, tell me what you hate, tell me what you love, tell me any guests you want to hear. And also, I just want to tell everybody, it's going to keep going, and season 3 episodes be pumping. So this was part 2. Sean P, tell them how to reach out to you.
Yes, sir. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter. It's at official SPO 502. And then you could also find me on Facebook, Sean Patrick O'Brien. And I didn't, because you had said merch, I didn't shout it out on the first episode. But I'll go ahead and shout it out on part 2. I do have merch out there. If anybody wants to get a referee man bun t-shirt, you can find that at prowrestlingtees.com/official SPO 502, just like my Twitter and Instagram. But prowrestlingtees.com, that they handle all my shirt stuff. So go ahead and grab you one of them if you feel so inclined. And I appreciate you having me, bro. This was a lot of fun. I'm glad we could do this again.
Yes, man. I'm honored. I appreciate it. I know when I close the Zoom, it just shuts it off and cuts off communication. But I'll say it here on part 2. Man, it was an honor. Thank you again for being my first guest ever. And doing a 2-parter was huge. And we touched on music. We touched on wrestling fucking head to toe. And you definitely were able to give the listener a behind the scene look, and that's what I fucking love to do. So man, I appreciate it, and we'll link soon, brother. But
yes,
thank you all for listening, downloading, and we are out. Bobbing with Sleazy, the podcast. Peace.